So it's 7 a.m. and we're starting our drive to Portland as my car starts to want to squeal. I gotta change that belt. Tournament starts at 9. It's still a little dark out, but it's gonna take me about, I want to say like 45 minutes to get to Portland. So I'm leaving at 7 so I can try to be there when the hall opens at 8. And then just, figure out where things are. I was there yesterday, sold a bunch of cards and, did a lot of things like that. And saw some old friends, and now it's time to get ready for, game time. So I think my deck's gonna do pretty well. I think I'm gonna do pretty well. I think I've had enough with the meta, and so let's go do this. Yeah. I'll see you guys at the hall.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wafflecast. So today we're going to be talking about SCG Portland. So that was this last weekend. It was a fun event. Went out to it. It's, Portland's not too far away from me, so I was able to actually drive out to the event. And it was really cool. I got to hang out with a bunch of people. So first and foremost, I want to thank everybody that I met over this weekend that subscribed to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Welcome to the channel if you're watching. But yeah, it was a great event. It was fun. They had Lorcana, Star Wars, Flesh and Blood, Magic, all kinds of stuff going on. I went out there to play in the Standard 5K, and it was a really fun event. I felt like things are getting a little bit better with how things are being ran, especially using the Melee, Melee.gg. It's not an app. It's actually like an online thing. But it was great how things kind of flowed. The only gripe that I really had was the Oregon Convention Center. Where we were at in the building was kind of underground in a sense, and the cell reception was a little wonky. But for me, I don't know about everybody else, but I know for me, it was a little tough getting phone calls and text messages, and even getting the Melee to update for my rounds and stuff. But anyways, before we get into any further of what happened in the event and everything, I just want to tell you guys, I want to remind you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, the book is out. It is on Amazon. There is going to be a link down below. Go check that out. Thank you to everybody who has already bought a copy of the book. Greatly appreciate it. Also, without giving any spoilers away, I am currently working on book 2. So just so you guys know, that's what's going on with that. So the event that I played in was the Standard 5K. There's about 148 players. I ended up 33rd overall. Ended up going a respectable 5-3. And I played against 3 of the Esper Pixie decks. Now, this deck was everywhere there. So if you haven't been caught up with Standard, a lot of people have seen a lot of the Gruul Aggro, the Zur Domain, and the Dimir decks running around, but Esper Pixies has been picking up a lot lately. There was a total of 4. I think it was 4 Esper Pixie decks. I could be wrong. I think it was 3 or 4. Anyways, I'm going to be doing a deck tech video coming out later, maybe this week or next week. I'm going to try to get it done this week, but maybe at least by next week, on the deck that I played, and then on the deck, the big deck of the tournament, which was the Pixies deck. That thing was everywhere. it ended up being a lot of Dimir decks and Pixie decks in the top tables. And then Black Green mid range and Zur kind of fell to the middle of the table there. It was. I think the tournament ran really fluidly. I think the game, we didn't have very many games go to time, and if they did, it was because they were on extensions for like deck checks and things like that. So I didn't hear of any real bad judge calls. I had a really good experience with the judges there. They seem. It seems like things are kind of getting back in order of that. Hopefully, Wizards will come in and maybe take over the judge program again and revamp it and do some things, but who knows? I enjoyed it when Wizards had it. I still have a lot of my stuff from the judge when I judged when I was in the Wizards program. So it'd be cool to see them pick it back up. I know there's been a couple people try to, pick it up and make it something, but it just hasn't been what it was at one point. But I went, sold some cards, met some people. I bought a couple of the Goblin Shaman tokens from an artist that I needed for my Jund deck for Modern. I would definitely, if you can get a chance to go out to one of these Star City Games cons. This one was a regional championship qualifier, so the main event was people who qualified for the regional championship, and then I think it was the top two got a Worlds invite, Pro Tour invite, and an invite to the next regional championship. And then I think third and fourth got a Pro Tour invite and a regional championship invite. It might have gone down further, I'm not sure, but there was, it trickles. I think it was, I could be wrong, but I think it was the top 8 at least got Pro Tour invites and things like that. But again, I don't remember exactly. I'll put it on the screen so that, when I edit, that it makes it look right and all that. But if you get a chance to go out to these, they do run RCQs so you can qualify for the championships. That's what I was playing in. That's what the standard 5K was. The top 8 all got an invite to the next, I think it was season 3, round 3, if I was not mistaken. But anyways, I'm looking at possibly going to the Denver event. Not sure yet, but I'm definitely going to make it out to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is May 30th to the 1st, which just so happens to be my birthday. So I'm definitely going to try to make it out there. Definitely been making some plans with some people to, maybe share a room and all that so we can get out there and kind of cut the cost down. But if you are going to Indianapolis, that one is a Spotlight Series. That is if I do believe it is a Modern tournament. So if you're big into Modern and you're out in that area and you're going to be at the Spotlight Series, I will be there as well. So I will see you guys there. But just wanted to give you guys a little update on the tournament report there. I will go more in depth, like I said, on my deck that I played, on the decks that were there. Definitely want to do a deck tech on Pixies. I think that is the hot deck right now. I think it is really good, really well positioned, and I think that's the deck to beat right now. So with that, we'll see what Aether Drift. That was one thing that I didn't know heading into the tournament. If I would have known this, there were some cards I would have changed in my sideboard. But apparently Aether Drift was legal for this tournament that I played in. It wasn't legal for the main event for the Modern regional championship, but it was legal in the Modern 10K and the Standard 5K and all the other events that were constructed. So if you do go to one of these events and there is a format, or not a format, there is a set that is to be released on the weekend that you're playing in, check that out, because I did not know that. So that's something that's to really be on the lookout for, because I did have a couple of people play Aether Drift cards on me and I went, huh? So yeah, although like I said, it wasn't a huge impact. Aether Drift didn't really have a huge impact on the meta. There was one or two decks that had a couple cards from Aether Drift, but they were like uncommon enchantments that were just kind of like a one of, two of that they were trying out. So like I said, it wasn't anything like somebody broke the format with some Radiant Lotus combo deck or something, because the cards are still really hard to obtain during that weekend. By next weekend, we have release, actual paper release and everything else, orders being shipped out on TCG and all of that. So be on the lookout for a lot more decks to have upgrades to them from Aether Drift. But yeah, with that, let's see, what else do we want to talk about? I mean, as far as my tournament experience goes, I feel like there was a round or two that if it would have went a little bit more my way, I could have definitely top 16, maybe possibly top 8'd, but I definitely could have top 16 if at least one more round went my way. I was playing an aggro deck with 21 lands, and in one of my matchups, I flooded out. Like game 1, we were both at 3 life, and I flooded, and he kept drawing answers. And typically the player that floods is going to be the one that loses, which I found very frustrating. I drew 8 of my 21 lands in that game. And then in game 3, same scenario, I flooded out. I drew 7 of 21, and he came super aggressive, and I just couldn't keep up. And that was against Dimir. I think it was a Dimir aggro or Dimir aggro or Dimir enchantments, one of the two. And typically I have a really good matchup against that with what I was playing. So just didn't go my way. It's one of those things where you have to sometimes look at your overall tournament experience and be like, look, did you have fun? Did the deck perform the best it could? Did you perform the best you could? And what can you take away from it as far as what can we learn moving into the next experience? Could I have maybe mulliganed a little bit more in some of the games? I don't know. I feel like there was... it might have been the first game. I probably could have mulliganed. I think I kept a hand with 4 land. And I felt, having 4 out of 21, I should just draw gas and be fine. Maybe I just decide to be a little bit more aggressive in game 3, especially knowing what I was up against. There's little things like that you can kind of go back and look at and maybe question. But I think overall, I did pretty good for my first big tournament back after, I think MagicCon Vegas 2 years ago was the last big event I played in. So I haven't really been in for a while, but I'm looking at trying to really up my game. And one other thing I had to take into note for myself personally is when you go to these larger events like this, you go to, a Spotlight Series or a regional championship or anything like that, and you play in these events, even though they're not the main events, they're more of the quote-unquote side events, but they feed into getting into those big events. You have to realize that you're playing a much higher level caliber. Why can't I speak? A much higher level caliber of player than you would typically meet at your store level. And I'm not saying people at your store level are terrible. What I'm saying is people that are traveling to these events are your typical grinders. These are the guys that are playing MTG Arena, 5 to 6 times a week, maybe 4 to 5 hours a day. They're going to the local card shops. They're playing Tuesday night Modern, Wednesday night Draft, Friday night Standard. Like, they're doing everything and anything they can. And I used to be on that level. I used to grind like that a lot. So I can understand the mentality of these players and where they're coming from, and knowing that they're going to be at these events at that high level. So for going 5-3, I feel pretty good for being a little rusty, So, it's something to take in and to work on. And especially if you're a player that's maybe you've played before like I have and you're wanting to get back into things, don't be so hard on yourself if you do go to one of these events and you end up 4-4. Or you end up like 0-3 in the first 3 rounds. Sometimes you got to shake the rust off. You got to get in there, get a little bit of dirt on you to really see how the competitive format is again. And then you take it from there and you build on it. So anyways, I just wanted to share my experience with you guys, talk about it. Again, I want to give a big thank you to everyone I met over the weekend, talked to, hung out with. Those of you that subscribe to the channel, again, a big thank you to you guys and welcome. But I want to keep doing stuff like this where when I go to tournaments, kind of share my experience, share the report of the tournament, and break a little bit down of what happened and what I saw. So, but with that, I want to leave you guys like I always leave you. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, stay syrupy, my friends.
Waffles in the morning, syrup sweet and slow. Golden stacks are rising, sunrise in the glow. Sticky choice.